Barra the Terrible. Today we're going to look at the Spiral Seal featuring the new Snorlax from Pokemon Go with the block ability, preventing our opponent's active Pokemon from retreating as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot. So we're using this card with our Mienshao, doing 90 base damage with Spinning Whip for only 1 Rapid Strike energy. And in addition to confusing our opponent's active Pokemon, you actually do have to shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards back into your deck, essentially allowing you to put Snorlax as your new active. That means we get to force our opponent to flip the coin for the confusion, taking 30 damage recoil each time they get a Tails. We're also doing 30 extra damage with Choice Belt and Grant, helping us do a 2-hit knockout against a VSTAR or even a VMAX. We're also playing our Irida to help us evolve our Octillery so that we get to search for a Rapid Strike card from the deck every single turn, plus that extra item for the Switch, Tool, or Pokemon Search. For the draw support, we have 1 Radiant Venusaur, 1 Bruno, 1 Cynthia, 1 Karina's Focus, 1 Marnie, 2 Research, 3 Burkeepers, and 1 Peony. For the setup, we have 3 Quick Balls, 3 Vapor Pass, 3 Capture, 4 Level Ball, and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball. For the evolution, we have 2 Incense and 1 Ultra Ball, plus 4 Level Ball from Mienshao. For the switch, we have 1 Escape Rope, 2 Switch, 3 Burkeepers, and 2 Scoop Up Net. For our energies, we're playing 4 Rapid Strike Energy and 3 Capture. Finally, we have 1 Boss Order for the extra power play, 1 Maniphy for the bench barrier, 2 Rod to recycle our Pokemons, and 1 Empoleon V to shut down 1 prize abilities. So that's all for the deck list, and be sure to grab yourself some packs from our sponsor at X-Trainer90 Team to build your very own deck from any cards in format. They even sell online codes for character rares, full art, and gold cards to expand your collection. So check out the link in the description below or click on the top right corner of this video to enhance your PTCG experience. Use code BTT for 5% off any products to get yourself some lovely cards. And now for the moment of truth, let's go for some gameplays! Okay, let's go for our first game. We're up against, I think an Arceus V-Star? Well, no, the first game is actually Ambipom. So Ambipom with Charim, helping them attach freely grass energy from their hand as much as they like every single turn. So question is, are they able to get, enough energies into play, into their hand? How much cards can they draw in a single turn to be able to attach to the Ambipom? Just because Ambipom is a stage 1, that means they're going to have to not just find the evolution, but also get enough energies to help it attack, and also somehow draw out the Stadium card. There are no other ways to search for Stadium but your Shady Dealings, Irida Peony. There's not really a proper way to search for Stadiums yet. Tracking Shoes, I guess. We have Palkia, which actually does a attack. The first attack helps you search for a Stadium card, but it's not good to basically waste an attack an entire turn just to search for 1 Stadium into your hand, especially when Marnie is still in the format. Even if it gets rotated, post-rotation we still have Judge to basically destroy our opponent's hand. That means we cannot actually rely on having those cards kept in our hand. We cannot expect for them to stay in our hand on the next turn. So it's always bad, if you are searching for a card with an attack, passing the turn. I think that's always a bad thing. So right now, here comes Ambipom. We actually killed the Chirabi on the first turn, which is great. On our second turn, actually, we did our Spinning Whip for 90 damage, and that helps us kill a 1 prize card easy. Now the question is, are we able to get lucky against the Ambipom, because they actually got that annoying ability helping them buy up, unlimited turns basically. All they need to do is keep on attaching energy on the same Ambipom. If they keep flipping heads for the ability, they get to keep on preventing all damage done to Ambipom. Having only 90 HP, they get to keep it alive throughout the entire game. All they need to do is get lucky. Are we able to get a Tails? Will they get a Tails? Because if they do, we get to hit them for 90 damage. Well, 180 just because we're hitting for the weakness. They may play a Dunsparce, you never know. But I don't think they have the space for it. So I don't think it's wise to play a Dunsparce either, because it's only 90 HP as well. Might as well just, add more energies in the deck. There's no point tanking damage with your Ambipom if it only has 90 HP. So they got Rescue Carrier to revive the Ambipom, which is a very smart card to be using just because Ambipom is only 90 HP. You get to play Level Ball, Rescue Carrier, you get to play a lot of cards for it. It's a very easy card to play, but it's quite risky though, just because if you keep on flipping Tails, not just with the ability, but also with the attack, just because you actually need enough heads to do enough damage. You're only doing 60x damage for each heads, and if you don't flip enough coins, you may not be able to do enough damage for a knockout. So that's not actually a good card if you ask me, just because you are gambling a lot on so many coin flips. Not just on the ability, but the attack as well. Even with the Glimwood Tangle, it's still pretty risky. Like, there's no guarantee when you'll get the Stadium card, if you'll get it at all throughout the entire game. Well, obviously you would if you're playing 4 copies, but I don't think it's a really good card to play unless, you know, probably if you have enough recyclers. Like, towards the end of the game, once your first few Ambipom gets knocked out, you would essentially have nothing but energies in your deck. Then by that time, you can actually do Bibarel to draw nothing but energies into your hand, and then Cherin to basically attach nothing but energies onto your Ambipom, like maybe up to 8 energies to do up to 300 damage with one Ambipom with that Glimwood Tangle. So towards the end of the game, you can actually do a lot of damage, killing a VMAX V-Star with one hit with only a 1 prize card. So that's probably the power of Ambipom right now. But we are playing a 1 prize, and we actually got our first prize already, and they are not getting their first prize because they flipped a lot of tails. So thank God for that. We actually get to survive, tank enough damage with our Snorlax. Snorlax does have a lot of HP, 150, so we get to survive with that card. That fast Snorlax is helping us survive an extra turn. So we're going to get a switch card right here, either a Scoop on that or a switch Escape Rope. I don't think we're going to do an Escape Rope. We're just going to have to deal with this Ambipom first. I don't think it really matters if we do Escape Rope or the Scoop on that, because eventually we have to deal with the Ambipom. And if we don't, even if they attach more energies to the same Ambipom, it's kind of the same thing, because we are playing a very low HP deck. Low HP, you know, attackers. That means whatever damage that they are doing, they probably are knocking out our Pokemons anyways. But if we can, you know, if we can survive, if they flip only 2 heads, they cannot actually kill the Snorlax. So I suppose if we kill this Ambipom, they may not have enough energies on the second one to kill our Snorlax in the active on the next turn. So I suppose that's what we were going for. That's why we were trying to kill the active, but failed miserably because apparently they got heads. We actually have an Escape Rope inside the deck, but we chose not to use it. Oh well. So this is super annoying because now they have 0 damage. Now they get to basically turn the tables. If they get a heads, they actually get to... So they are flipping a lot of coins, isn't it? They are doing it for the attack, for the confusion, and also for the ability. And they actually got a tails. That means they actually have to take 30 damage recoil. And we got another chance, basically, to help us do our second knockout. We're going to get our Cupfu, well, Mienfoo, my bad. We're going to bench our Mienfoo, the second copy. We should not have done the Menifee. We should not have benched the Menifee just because they could quite easily do a boss to kill off the Mienfoo on the bench, and we got no attackers on the next turn. So make sure you plan ahead. Make sure you have like, you know, a Mienshao ready to go and 2 extra Mienfoos on the bench, so that if you shuffle your active, if you attack with Spinning Whip, you actually have to shuffle all attached cards and itself obviously back into the deck, and that actually does not, it doesn't do anything against, you know, against your favor, just because you have 2 extra Mienfoos. If they boss one, you still got the other. But if you don't play Menifee though, you may not be able to survive an Urshifu, Rapid Strike Urshifu, Rapid Flow. So maybe choose wisely, I suppose, whether to bench a Venusaur or a Menifee, because I don't think you have the space for both. If you're up against a Urshifu, better not just... it's always better to bench a Menifee, obviously, but don't do your Venusaur, because I don't think you have the bench spot to expand for that. I don't think you have enough space for that. So that's probably the bad thing about Mienshao, is that, you know, you cannot actually prepare for the next one if you don't have an extra spot ready. If you have way too many supports, we actually need Octillery. Venusaur is you know, obviously Snorlax has to be there because it's a disruptive support. It helps us disrupt our opponent by locking them in the active, helping us attack the same Pokemon without doing a boss. We actually do have 1 copy of boss in this deck as well. So if they get their switch card, they actually get to cut through our ability though. They get to bypass that ability, so it's not perfect as we all know, but that Snorlax has to be there just because it actually gives us a lot of value for this deck. And they actually conceded, so they were quite annoyed with flipping the coins. They got another Tails with the confusion, and they just got frustrated and conceded. So we are having a lot of supports in this deck. Unfortunately, we need our Venusaur for the draw support, we need our Octillery for the search support, and we need also our Menifee for the bench barrier if they play a bench snipe deck. And if we have that many, including the Snorlax, I don't think we can survive a boss knockout. Because if we do Spinning Whip, we have one last Mienfoo on the bench. If they do a boss against the Snorlax, if they get through the confusion somehow with a switch and a boss, then they actually get to kill, they actually get to stall for one extra turn, force us to not able to do anything on our next turn. We cannot confuse them, we cannot attack, we can't do anything but set up our next Mienfoos. So they can delay us a whole nother turn, which is costing a lot, which is actually, well, which is setting us back by a lot. You know, one turn is all it takes sometimes. You cannot afford to waste a single turn. This is the standard format. The competition is crazy tough. So we're going to get a Remoraid, obviously. We're going to get a Venusaur as well, but I'm not sure what to discard here. I think we should be discarding the Grand because we can easily retrieve it back. And Grand is actually helping us reduce our hand as well. It helps us reduce our hand so that we get to draw more with our Venusaur. So it's always a good practice to discard your Grand if you have no other cards to discard from your hand. If you cannot afford to discard your other cards, then just discard your Grand. Sometimes it's better not to, just because, you know, you actually have to discard 2 cards from your hand. Sometimes, you know, even on the next turn, you could not afford, you may not be able to afford to discard anything more. You know, you may need to use your Incense, your Energy, Ultra Ball, you may need all of the cards in your hand, and you cannot afford to discard anything even on your next turn. That means Grand actually has to stay in your discard pile. You cannot play that supporter card, so that's actually quite a difficult card to play, especially for this deck. Just because we need everything. We need everything inside the deck. We cannot discard so many things. We cannot afford to discard anything but VIP Pass, obviously, and maybe the balls once we have a proper setup on the bench already. But we actually need to keep the balls inside the deck though, just because if we, we actually need to keep on summoning our Mienfoo onto the bench. We need to keep on benching and evolving over and over, turn after turn, and attaching energy as well. That's why Octillery needs to be in play. Not only that, we also need our balls consistently every single turn. So that's why we have so many basic summons. In addition to the balls, we have 3 capture for our first turn. Obviously, capture is only for the first turn, just because if you get your capture late, you cannot actually attach it, just because you have no choice but to play your Rapid Strike energy for the attack. You cannot prepare. You cannot attack if you don't attach the Rapid Strike energy, and you have no way of attaching capture unless your opponent does not attack on the next turn, and your opponent is actually giving you like a free turn to attach that capture. Then you may actually do so. So capture is only for the first turn, unfortunately. We should play more quick balls, but I don't like discarding cards from my hand. That's why we have only 3 quick balls, 3 VIP pass, and 3 capture. So maybe swap 1 capture for another VIP. I don't know. Because it's not that easy to discard. We only have 3 quick balls, 1 ultra ball, and 1 Grand for the discard. Not a lot of cards to discard our hand. And if we get stuck with like 3 VIP and a supporter, well, no supporter. For example, if we have 3 VIP and an evolution without, the complementary basic in our bench, in play, we can't actually empty our hand for Venusaur to draw cards. So we're stuck with a dead hand over and over until we draw something on the next turn from the top deck, which is terrible. So that's why we need, I don't think we can afford to play more than 3 VIP pass. If you are doing a Radiant Venusaur deck, we are playing our Peony though. Peony, 1 copy, 2 research to discard our hand as well. So I don't think it's too bad if we have 4 VIP. I don't think it's that terrible. I don't know, maybe I'll just leave you guys to experiment for yourself. If you want to try, you can just try 4 VIP and 2 capture instead of 3 capture, 3 VIP. VIP pass is really annoying though, because most of the times I just don't get that card on the first turn, which is very frustrating, because especially if you're playing against Lunatone, Solrock, they are more likely to get their Level Ball, Quick Ball, VIP pass, because they're playing full 4 copies of all of those cards, because they don't need anything else. So it's really annoying just because they're probably going to bench everything on the first turn much easier than you're able to, because they're playing full-on basic, they're playing full-on balls everywhere, and basic summons, like deck full of basic summons and energies. It's crazy. Even a Pokestop. Like, what can you do about that? So we did 120 damage with our Choice Belt, and now we actually get to confuse them thanks to, I think we did a boss order. Did we do a boss order? Or did we do like an escape rope? I'm not sure what we did on last turn. So if we get our Grand on the next turn, we may be able to kill the Blissey if they flip a Tails. Let's hope, fingers crossed, they get a Tails. If they don't heal any damage and flip a Tails, we may be able to knock out the, well, we will be able to knock out the Blissey with our Grant, because we already discarded it from our hand. That means we get to play that card in addition to searching for our evolution, because we already have it in play. All we need to do is evolve Mienshao, switch, and then play the Grant, and we got a knockout. Because we even have a Choice Belt attached on our bench Mienfoo. We just need to, fingers crossed, they actually got a Tails, and they did not do a boss. They did a Zinnia instead. They did Zinnia's Resolve to draw even more cards. No Pokemon Catcher, no knockout. They did not kill our Mienfoo on the bench. And that means we got our Choice Belt Grant combo doing 150 damage with our fighting type Mienfoo Rapid Strike. 30 extra and 30 more with our Grant Choice Belt combo. So this is the point where we get to attach an extra energy this turn. But we actually are not able to if we want to keep Peony, right? I don't think it makes any sense for us to attach the capture, because we have no fighting energy in this deck. So might as well just discard the capture, because it's only going to help us on the next turn. If we keep it in our hand, if we attach it this turn, it's not going to do anything. So let's just discard it, and now we actually are not able to use the capture anymore, so might as well just discard it. So we got the Blissey knockout, and we got a supporter in our hand. All we need to do is evolve and then get a switch card. All we need is like a level ball and a switch with our Peony, and then search for the evolution with our Octillery. We got another 90 damage in the game. I think Yveltal is a flying type. That means it's actually resistant to fighting. We're only doing 60 damage, but I don't think we need our Venusaur. I don't think it's safe to discard the Cubfu. I keep calling it Cubfu, my bad, Mienfoo. But we may actually need to draw with Venusaur though. I don't think it's smart to discard the Venusaur, because we have a Mienfoo in our hand. We should be discarding the Mienfoo. If we discard one copy, they can't actually boss the other, obviously. And even if they do, they can't knock it out. So we should have discarded one of the Mienfoos and bench another one on the next turn. Evolve with the Peony, and then draw more cards with our Venusaur at the same time. Because Peony empties your hand, and we got no Rose Tower, we got no way of drawing cards. They conceded though. They conceded, that means we don't need to decide anymore. But it was the wrong move discarding the Venusaur, because we have no supporter but a Peony. And that actually is a really bad hand, if you think about it. Because it does not help us after our next hit. We can attack this turn, but what are we going to do with an empty hand on the next turn? We got 0 cards. 0 cards in our hand. So we could not have afforded to discard the Radiant Venusaur. Right now we're up against a Shadow Rider. Shadow Rider VMAX doing a one-hit KO. They actually get to deny us from attaching special energies from our hand and playing any stadium cards with their Shadow Mist. So if they play that attack, they can actually do 10 damage at a time until they kill all of our Pokemons, Will they do that? I don't know. Shadow Mist for the win. Because we are playing full special energy for this deck. They may not anticipate that. They may not expect a full special energy deck. You never know if your opponent has a basic energy in their deck. So I suppose they would probably play it safe and evolve instead of using Shadow Mist for the win. If they keep using Shadow Mist, all we need to do is boss something else, I guess. And avoid them, you know, force them to attack with something else. Because if they keep on attacking with Shadow Rider, all they need to do is play nothing but that one attack. Even though it's just 10 damage, we cannot do anything though. We can't do anything else. We cannot attach the energy, we cannot attack, we cannot use our abilities to place damage counters, we cannot do anything. So all they need to do really is play Shadow Mist all, like, for the entirety of this game, 10 damage at a time, kill off all of our Pokemons for the 6 prize. But that would be pretty boring because we would need to wait a lot of turns. They would need to do like 15, they would need to hit 15 times to kill the Snorlax. And then if we put the Venusaur, they would need to do 15 more. So that's actually 30 turns. Do they have 30 turns to spare? They may have a Marnie. They may play a Marnie at the last second to basically refill their deck and then buy them even more turns. So that's actually an interesting speculation, because it would be pretty exciting to watch what happens if they decide to do that. But they actually didn't. They actually didn't do that, so it's actually quite unfortunate that we did not get to witness that side of the game. Because can you imagine if they do 10 damage at a time for 30 turns, and then at the last minute play a Bruno or a Marnie to put all the cards in their hand back into the deck, buying them like 30 more turns. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. 10 damage over and over. We have Scoop Up Net though. We have Scoop Up. I just realized that Scoop Up Net actually helps us recover all damage counters. So that means they need another 14 turns to kill the Snorlax. So I don't think they can do it just because we have that Scoop Up Net. It's not possible to kill us. They need to do the boss. Even if they do the boss, we can quite easily do our Switch Retreat, Bird Keeper. We have a lot of Switch cards in this deck, so I don't think they can win that way. I don't think it's possible. We even have we can't retreat with our energy because we can't attach it, obviously. My bad. But we do have a lot of Switch cards. Bird Keeper, 3 copies. And here comes the VMAX. So they are not able to attack this turn, but they can attach an extra energy. They may do energy switch, but they just pass the turn, my bad. We actually get to attack, but we are doing 30 less damage thanks to the resistance. We have a choice belt, so we're doing 90 base, not bad. So as you can see right now, we have 3 in multiple combination of our Mienshao in play. We actually need 3 to prepare for the next turn if they don't play a bench snipe deck. Just because Manaphy actually helps us against a bench snipe deck. But if they play like Single Strike, Rapid Strike Urshifu or Kyogre, we actually do need our Manaphy. That means we may need to waste our Scoop Up Net. Waste that 1 Scoop Up Net to remove Venusaur from the bench, so that we get to bench a Manaphy and then maybe play Irida to search it out as well. So Irida is quite interesting to play because we actually get to use it to summon either our Remoraid, Octillery, or our Manaphy at any point in the game, in addition to that 1 item card. So you can search for your tool, you can search for your switch card, you can search for level ball, you can search for a VIP on your first turn, you can search for anything. So Karina, my bad, Irida is pretty cool to play. We also have our Astro Radiance Grant helping us do 30 extra damage for our fighting Pokemon. The only fighting type is Mienshao, unfortunately, for this deck. We have our Pokemon Go Snorlax helping us block our opponent from retreating in the active. That means we are able to target the same Pokemon if they play cards like Air Balloons in their deck instead of Switch. If they play Tower of Waters instead of Escape Rope or Bird Keeper. Or if they play Metagross. We actually have a Metagross helping you reduce helping you reduce all retreat costs down to 0. All retreat costs of your Pokemons in play. So your Pokemons in play has 0 retreat cost. All of them. It is a stage 2 though, so it's not that easy to pull that off. But if they play a Metagross, they cannot retreat, because Snorlax doesn't allow them to. It doesn't matter if you have free retreat costs, you still cannot retreat, right? You need to do a switch, you need to do Bird Keeper, Escape Rope. And forcing them to flip the coin for the confusion is delicious, because it's actually more likely for them to get a tails than it is for you to get a heads. For some reason, this game works that way. If you force your opponent to flip the coin, you have a higher chance of getting, you know, what you want, as opposed to if you flip the coin yourself. Like if you do a Crushing Hammer, you're probably gonna get a tails. If you do a confusion, they, you know, I would say it's a bit more fair. They would get 50-50 heads or tails 50-50. Whereas with a Crushing Hammer, you know, Crushing Hammer or like Cram-O-Matic, Silene, cards like that, you would probably get 30% chance of heads, or if you're lucky, 45. I would say on a normal day, 35%. 35% on the average, right? On the average, 35% heads and 75, is it 75? No, 65% tails, which is terrible. Like the rate of success is just terrible. That's why I don't play Ambipom. That's why I don't play Crushing Hammer in my decks unless I have to, unless I really want to feature a card. Like, I don't think you have a choice if you play Cursula or Goodra, Fusion Strike Goodra. You actually need your Crushing Hammer, so some decks you actually have to play those cards. Okay, right now we have 180 damage in the game. I think they flipped the tails at some point and got the recoil. So that means our first attack did 90 damage. Our second attack actually did only 60 damage. But thanks to confusion, we got 30 more damage in the game. And now we just need 180 more. Well, we just need 140 more damage. So if Snorlax could somehow attack, that would be great. But I don't think... I tried adding... As you can see, we have a Twin Energy for this game, but we don't actually have it for the final list. So eventually I decided to remove Twin Energy from the deck just because it doesn't really work. You know, you can't actually attach energy to anything but your Mienshao, because you need to keep on attaching every single turn to the same Pokemon. If you don't attach to your Mienshao, you can attack with it. And if you waste any turn attaching any energy to your Snorlax, you will have to waste a few turns before you're able to attack with it. And once you attack with your Snorlax, you actually have to go to sleep. Your collapse actually forces you to go to sleep, so you have to flip a coin until you wake yourself up. But we have a lot of switch cards though. That's, you know, that's not really a big problem. But the biggest problem is probably the attack cost. 4 energies is a lot. You need like at least 3 turns to charge up just to attack for 150 damage, and I don't think that's a good deal, because it can get knocked out pretty easily against V decks, against V-Star decks, if you're not careful. Quite easily, quite fast as well. Arceus is super turbo, and you cannot survive, right? 150 HP, I don't think is able to survive anything. Unless if they play like a 1-price deck. So if you're lucky, you can tank enough damage against a Lunatone. If they have like 3 energies attached to their Lunatone, they are only doing 120 damage. So obviously if you have a cape, Snorlax is going to tank even more damage. But I don't think we have the luxury to play cape for this deck. We need a lot of search. We need a lot of supporter cards to draw whatever we need. We need our energies, obviously, and our Octillery. We need a lot of supports for this deck. A lot of supports and enough searches as well. So we don't really have that much space for tool cards. That's why we only have 2 choice belt as well. 2 is enough though. 2 actually is enough, because you actually get to keep on shuffling and recycling the same tool card. So honestly, you really just need 1. But since it's that difficult to search for it, I actually decided to play 2 copies just because it's much it helps you draw it fast in a game. If you get it fast, you get 120 damage in the game early, and that helps you a lot. It helps you a lot in the game in the long run, and it's gonna do fast knockouts. It's gonna help you draw prizes much quicker, and you get to win much easier. So are we gonna play our Bird Keeper? We just need 20 damage to kill the active right now. So we actually decided to play our Remoraid. That means we are not playing the Bird Keeper apparently. Because if we do the Bird Keeper, we have no attackers on the next turn. I think we decided to just bench another Mienfoo. So not playing the Snorlax is irrelevant, I suppose, because I don't think we need Snorlax at this point. We are doing a knockout, so Snorlax is not necessary for this turn. So we should have done our Mienfoo, because they could quite easily do a boss to kill off the Mienshao on the next turn. That was a big mistake right there. We benched the wrong Pokemon, because we do not need the Snorlax on this turn. We need it on the next turn, not this turn. But it's much more difficult to search for the Snorlax though. It's not that easy to search. We should have just kept our Ultra Ball in our hand. If we did that though, we actually need a Mienfoo, and Octillery actually has to search for the Rapid Strike energy. So I think we should have done our Bird Keeper at least, because Bird Keeper helps us draw one card, like 3 cards from the deck. We would probably get either a Level Ball or a Mienfoo out, a Mienfoo, basic Mienfoo to bench, in addition to our Ultra Ball for the Snorlax, because Snorlax is not that easy to summon, but we can think about it on the next turn though. We actually got a capture from the prize as well, but capture is not going to help us, because we need to attach to our Mienshao. Keep calling it the wrong name, sorry guys. So they got 7 energies on the Shadow Rider. They're doing a knockout. Obviously, way too much damage right there. But now we need a lot more just to kill the VMAX. They may choose to play Cresselia at some point, because they have already enough energies to do Photon Laser for the knockout. Photon Laser cannot kill our Snorlax though, so Photon Laser may not be enough. They may play Articuno for the Snipe. Psy Laser actually does 120 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon, but you have to discard all energies attached to your Articuno. So they got that 1 extra Snipe to kill either our bench Mienfoo or our Octillery, and we don't have a Manaphy in play right now. I think we actually discarded the Manaphy, because we did not expect them to play the Articuno. So don't underestimate Manaphy. Manaphy can be very important sometimes. We do have a Rod though. We have 2 copies of Rod to shuffle back the Manaphy, so it's actually possible for us to bench it still. But we weren't taking it seriously, so eventually we got sniped. You would see later on in the game we got sniped and it was pretty bad. But I think we survived it somehow. So they got no bench, they actually flipped the heads. And now they have a lot of HP remaining. How are we going to kill them? We got our Incense for Mienshao. And I think we should be playing our Bird Keeper right now, just to draw something from our, from the deck. So we're just gonna evolve the bench. And we should have done the search first, right? We should have searched for our energy first, because that actually helps us draw something else from the deck. Oh well, because we don't need any extra searches. Well, we may need it though for the next turn, if we don't get a support card, but we got it. We got our research. If they play Marnie, we would probably get either we actually have to shuffle back both the Snorlax, so we would get either our Mienshao or Incense, or even Irida, another supporter card, Level Ball, something to evolve the Mienshao obviously, and all we need to do is search for the energy. So no Snorlax for this turn. We are forced to put Venusaur, unfortunately, just to tank damage. It's not tanking anything because they're doing 200 plus damage. They're doing a knockout for sure. So Venusaur is dead. But the reason we are offering it for the sacrifice is that we cannot afford to lose our Octillery. We cannot afford to sacrifice anything else. That's why we chose the Venusaur. I don't think we need it anymore. We got 24 cards left in the deck, and we got quite a lot of support cards left, and we get to play the research as well. If they don't do a Marnie, if they play a Marnie, we would probably get another supporter card, because 24 cards left in the deck is not, like, I don't think we need the Venusaur anymore. It's not necessary, right? So here is where they did the Psylaser. Surprise, surprise, on this turn, they avoided killing our Venusaur and actually sniped our bench. So this was quite an ugly situation, because we got the Manaphy inside the deck, discarded actually. We actually discarded early. We got it inside our deck from the start of the game, and now we don't have it in our bench. We even got the Rod, but we decided to put 2 Snorlax instead of 1 Manaphy and 1 Snorlax. And they even do a Marnie. They even do a Marnie in addition to the Snipe, which is terrible. What are we going to do? We got a switch in our hand. We had a switch in our hand. We got a research though, so I don't think it's too bad. We got an energy and a research. So all we need is to get a switch and an evolution. They're probably going to kill the Octillery, because we got 2 Mienfoos on the bench, and they are not killing the Venusaur. So I think it makes a lot of sense to kill the Octillery. And we're just gonna attach everything. We got the Mienshao, so all we need is a switch card. We cannot unfortunately shuffle the deck. We're not able to shuffle the deck because we got our switch at the bottom now. We may get our Scoop Up Net or Escape Rope. There we go, we got the Escape Rope. So all we need is to play that, bench the Snorlax, play our Heavy Ball, hopefully get another Mienfoo. We got nothing, oh well. So we have no Octillery in play. It's a bit more difficult to attack with the next one, but let's just hang in there and hopefully we get to kill the Shadow Rider. If they put the Cresselia, they can't do a knockout, and we are not drawing enough prize for the win, because we need 3 more prizes. We need to hit the VMAX. At some point we're going to though. We have a boss inside the deck still, I think. And if we do a boss on the Shadow Rider, we can actually do the Confusion and Trap. And trapping them in the active means they need to play a switch to be able to attack with something else. If they do the switch though, if they get their switch card, we cannot target the same VMAX anymore until we kill off all the other 1 prize. So it's not that easy to kill the Cresselia, it's not that easy to kill Articuno, because not only do they have the resistance, they actually are having a high HP as well. 120 is quite a lot. We need 2 strikes to kill for 1 prize, which is terrible. And after that, they can actually play the VMAX and nothing else. That means we are forced to kill a high HP Pokemon. We're forced to do 200 plus damage just to draw the final prize. So it was quite lucky of us, I would say, that they chose to put the Shadow Rider in the active from the Escape Rope, because we are forcing them to switch their active, and they actually chose to give us the VMAX. That means they're trapped having our Snorlax in play. They actually cannot retreat. So all we need is a Grant right now, honestly. If we get a Grant, we win the game. But I don't think we have it discarded. It's not that easy to get it into our hand. So obviously on the next turn we can't win. We need another extra turn. But if they flip a tails though, if they flip a coin, oh my god, they flip the coin. We don't need a Grant. We won the game. We got Irida. That's all we need. Wait, I don't think we get to play Irida, my bad. So we're gonna play a Marnie right here. We need a switch and the evolution. So we got no Octillery. That means we need both those cards in our hand. We are forced to play a Marnie. No evolution. So we cannot win the game because we got stuck with no Rapid Strike Search. We're not able to get Mienshao evolved. We got the Grant though. We got a Grant in our hand, but oh well. We got a Grant and a switch. Well, we don't have a switch in our hand just now. So we got a Grant, but nothing but supporters. So I don't think we could have done the knockout before the Marnie. So I don't think it makes sense for us to play anything else. Let's just hope they don't switch, because all they need to do is get that one switch, and they get to snipe again with the Articuno, removing the choice belt, and that would be terrible. So they finally got ahead, 340 damage to kill a Snorlax, overkill much. And now all we need to do is get the evolution. And we got it, we got our Peony, we don't need the Grant. We may need to flip the coin if we don't get the Peony though. Can you imagine? So Peony is helping us get our evolution with Level Ball or Incense. I'm pretty sure we have one or the other inside the deck still. There we go. We got one final Level Ball, thank God. That's all we need. 90 damage, just right to kill off a little bit more than enough to knock out the VMAX for the final 3 prize. If we did double stab, it would be 60 damage plus 30. So 60 damage. If we play a Grant, if we attack with Mienfoo, we may be able to kill the Shadow Rider without evolving, but we would need to flip 2 heads. If we don't flip 2 heads, we cannot kill the VMAX. We need double heads. Because that would mean 90 plus 30 more from Grant. 90 thanks to Choice Belt, plus another 30 from Grant. 120 minus 30 because they're resistant. So 90 damage, 19 net damage actually is enough to kill them. Peony is actually quite useful though. If you play a Radiant Venusaur deck, you can add a Peony. But make sure you play enough rods in your deck or Paw Pad to save your supporter slash Pokemon, because you're probably going to have to discard valuable cards you need later on. If you discard too many things, you may not be able to save yourself from that. So always play those rescue cards. Ordinary Rod, Clara, Team Yell's Sheer Silene, Paw Pad. It's better to play items though, because it actually helps you draw with your supporter and then play your item to shuffle it back and then, you know, get it out later, get it back out when you need it, because I don't think you need it that urgently. If you can shuffle early, you can search for it later. That's the golden rule, always the golden rule. So Irida helps us search for a rod, it helps us search for a ball or a tool card, VIP pass, whatever we need. So Irida is very, very useful for this deck, especially if you get to evolve your Octillery with it. That would be just perfect, right? I would recommend benching an extra copy of Remoraid, but we may not have the luxury to, you know, bench another extra Octillery. If they boss and kill our Octillery though, we may need to prepare for the next one. So it's always safer to have 2 of your supports. If you play only 1 support, it's gonna get killed. It's gonna get boss knocked out, and then what are you gonna do, right? So we got our Octillery, we got Irida, lovely. Speak of the devil. And now we get to do our Scoop of Net. We're up against a Melmetal deck, Melmetal with Zacian, and they got Bibarel for the draw. So we got 90 damage in the game early, fast. We even got a Choice Belt, so we're doing 120 damage. And if they flip a Tails, we got 30 more in the game, which would be grand. Here comes our Rapid Strike Energy. Got a switch, we got Level Ball, we got everything that we need. We don't have a Venusaur though, so we should have searched for a Venusaur with... We should have gotten... I don't know what we should have gotten, honestly. If we get a Quick Ball with Irida though, we may not be able to switch and attack this turn. So attacking this turn may be a good thing, but I think it's better to prepare for the Venusaur, because now we have an empty hand and we are not able to attack on the next turn anyways. So it's kind of better just to pass one turn not attacking, but having a proper hand for the next turn. They may play a Marnie though, so you never know. We actually chose to attack with the first one. The first attack doing 50 damage thanks to Choice Belt. That means we don't need to shuffle back our Pokemon. We are keeping it in the active until we're able to do the knockout apparently, because they're not evolving. If they evolve, they need 3 energies to attack. If they don't, they need 2 strikes. So I don't think they can kill us on the next turn, but they can do it after the next though. So they attached 0 energies. They got no energies to attach on the last turn. That means we got another turn to use the first attack. Are we gonna do that though? Are we gonna play a Bird Keeper? What are we gonna do? I think we should get a Rapid Strike energy. Like if we get something, we can retreat with the energy, right? So we got the energy, we can actually play our Rapid Strike Search for the second evolution. And that means we get to attack with the second Mienshao for 90 damage, 120 actually, I keep forgetting. So 120 up to 170 damage now. I think it's better just to use Spinning Whip just because we got our Bruno, we got enough things in our hand to prepare for the next turn. The draw support is good enough. We got a Bird Keeper even. So if you have a proper hand, I think it warrants the normal proceeding of your Spinning Whip. If you don't have a proper hand, I don't think you should be using Spinning Whip that early, just because you are emptying your bench. You are removing the attacker from play. If they are doing a knockout though, if they have enough energies in the game, if they are doing a knockout every single turn, you may not have a choice but to play your Spinning Whip, just to confuse them and trap them with your Snorlax, because that could actually buy you extra turns until you get a supporter card, right? So we're going to evolve another copy. We're just going to do... Are we going to get a Mienfoo or a Mienshao? I think it's smarter to get the basic. And then evolve with the Octillery. Or we can just get another energy, whatever we want. It's smarter to evolve though. Let's just do that. And then we got 120 damage in the game against the Zacian. So Melmetal has 50 HP remaining, I think, because they haven't evolved on the bench. So we just need to boss it later before they evolve to kill it off for the 2 prize. If they do, and if they attack with the Melmetal, because now they can't retreat with the Zacian. If we kill the Zacian without having to play a boss, then we may be able to kill the Melmetal VMAX without playing the boss. That means we get to use the boss for a Bibarel knockout, because Bibarel is actually weak towards fighting, and we don't even need like a grand to kill the Bibarel. Otherwise we would need it, right? We would need 120 damage. But since it's weak towards fighting, Spinning Whip is doing a knockout without Grant. So that gives us the final prize. All we need to do is kill the Zacian, VMAX, and a Bibarel. That's the plan. If they don't evolve though, we need to kill 2 Zacians and 1 Melmetal V. That would be a bit more difficult, but still manageable. As long as they get trapped by the confusion and retreat lock, I think we should be fine, because they can't actually attack with the same Zacian on next turn if they did Brave Blade on the last. Well, on this turn, if they did Brave Blade on the last. Okay, they did a Marnie. I think it should be fine. We got a Cynthia. So, pretty consistent deck. We're getting our supporter cards even without Venusaur. I think we're doing quite well. We got a Mienfoo and a Heavy Ball. So I think we may need a little bit more. We got our Snorlax though, so I think we should be fine. I was actually suggesting like playing more quick balls in the deck, because Snorlax is not that easy to summon. We got 2 Snorlax in play already, so I don't think there's an issue. But if you don't get your VIP quick ball or capture on the first turn, if you get a capture later on in the game, it's not gonna help you, or VIP later on in the game, it's not gonna help you summon your Snorlax. So we have nothing but quick ball after the first turn to summon our Snorlax nothing but that 3 copy of Quick Ball and that 1 Ultra Ball. So it's actually quite difficult to bench your next Snorlax if they kill the first one early. If you don't get your VIP or capture on the first turn, then even your first Snorlax is going to be difficult to bench. So always think about Snorlax because it's not that easy to summon that Pokemon. You may even do your Rapid Strike search for your Mienfoo. So Mienfoo is a level ball card as well. It's not, I don't think there's any issue for that card because it's so easy to bench it. But we actually need to conserve though. If we waste our level ball, if we just discard it from our hand, you know, play it and not search for anything just to draw cards with Venusaur, then we may not have enough to spare later on to bench our next attacker. So we need to keep it in our hand, we need to keep it inside the deck so that we get to keep on searching and benching over and over, just because you have to do that. If you don't do that, you cannot attack. You're breaking the flow. You have to keep on attacking every single turn, doing nothing but spinning whip over and over and over, 90 damage at a time, confusing them over and over and over until they die, basically. If they play a heal deck or a Cheryl or like a Virizion, if they play a Virizion V, I don't think we can win this game because, you know, we are relying on the condition. We are relying on the, what's it called, confusion. So we played a Bruno expecting to get a switch. This is the game where we could have done our collapse for 150 damage to kill off the Zacian, but we got really unlucky. We did not get our switch card because we got an extra turn to attach that extra 1 energy to Snorlax. We got extra 2 turns. Now we just need 1 more energy to do collapse. So if we got a switch, if we did our switch on the last turn, we could have done spinning whip into the second Snorlax, right? We could have put the second Snorlax as our new active, and that means we got the first Snorlax on the bench with energies, and all we need to do is scoop up the first Snorlax, the second Snorlax, my bad, and then attach 1 more capture to attack with the second Snorlax. But they actually killed it before we were able to do collapse. So finally I decided, you know what, it's just not working. It's not that easy to attach energy to Snorlax. Might as well just swap those cards. Might as well just replace our twin energy for an Empoleon, for, you know, more switch cards, more bird keepers, just to help this deck be more consistent, give it more, you know, flow, and give it more power actually. Instead of playing energies that we are not able to attach, unless they give us extra turns. They actually pass a lot of turns not attacking because they got trapped. You know, they didn't get their energies early, so that's why Snorlax gets to have that 3 extra energies. And even then, we are not able to do it. So that's why we eventually decided to remove those cards. So let's get a choice belt. We're gonna attach it to our bench. I don't think we need to get anything with the Irida. I thought we needed to, but we don't, apparently. So we're just gonna search for another, oh, okay, we did that. I thought we were gonna search for another Mienshao. So let's just discard the Octillery because we don't have the Remoraid anyways. We're just gonna put the Venusaur for the draw support, and then Spinning Whip for the knockout because 90 damage is enough. They flip the tails, that means 90 damage is enough to kill the Zacian. We don't need 120. We got the Remoraid though from the prize. So if we bench the Remoraid, it would be a mistake, I think, because all they need is a boss to kill the second Mienshao. Because we are shuffling back the first one after the attack. So we have no choice but to have 3 spots in play. We need 3 spots in play for our Mienshao, Mienfoo, and then that means we have 3 left for our draw support, search support, and Snorlax. Or even bench barrier, yada yada yada, etc. There we go, boss. And they actually killed the Mienshao instead of the choice belt energy one. I think it would be a bit smarter to knock out the one with the energy and the choice belt, but they chose the evolution instead. I don't know what their game plan is. You never know though, it could actually be the right decision. So we're gonna play a Bruno right now, and then evolve our active, do 120 damage. We may play a boss on the next turn if they don't evolve the Melmetal. It's actually quite long. It's been such a long time, and that VMAX is not showing up yet. They still have not evolved the Melmetal for some reason. They may not play that many copies. It could be priced, so you never know. I think they are more concerned with the switch card. They need the switch card more than they need, more than they need the VMAX. If they got the VMAX though, they get to attack every single turn, right? If they attack with Zacian, they have to pass one turn getting stuck. So I think it's much better to focus on the VMAX or even the V. They don't have Crystal Cave, I don't think. Even if they do, I don't think they can avoid the knockout. They have to evolve. We got boss ready for them if they don't. If we play a Grant, I think we can kill it. 120. So 290. 10, 11, 12. Yep. If we play a Choice Belt and a Grant, we can actually kill the VMAX. So they did not evolve. That means we're doing a knockout this turn. We're just gonna do it. We're gonna do Spinning Whip on the Melmetal. And then all we need is to knock out the Zacian for the final kill. That earns us our final 2 prize for the win. So boss right now would be very strategic, and that's what we're gonna do. That's what we have to do if we want to win this game. Scoop of that. We decided to play the second Mienfoo because we don't need the choice belt. And I just realized that we have no second Mienfoo on the bench, so they can quite easily do a boss with the Zacian. They can quite easily delay us an extra whole turn by doing a boss knockout. If they kill our Mienshao on the, after this turn, if they kill the Mienshao, we would be stuck for one entire turn, and that's not good. But they can't attack though. They can't attack with the same Zacian, obviously. But if they get their Metal Saucer, they can attack with something else. So always think about your next Mienshao. How many Mienfoos you have on your bench. Make sure you have 3 in play every single turn. You cannot afford to miss a single turn. Like, if you're careless like that, you cannot win a game. You cannot win that easily. You have no choice but to keep your strategy intact. Miltank. Air Balloon is not doing anything. So Snorlax completely destroys Air Balloon. It destroys Tower of Waters. I already mentioned this. It destroys, what else? Hisuian Sneasler and Ninetales from Fusion Strike. It destroys all of those cards. Because your retreat cost does not matter if you're not able to retreat at all. So we actually got the knockout already. I did not realize that, but we actually have a choice belt already attached from the last turn, and now we got to do 120 remaining damage to kill off the Zacian. We don't even need to search, we don't even need to evolve, and that's all we need to do. Knock out the Zacian for a win. So let's go ahead for our next one against Jarcom. I think this one is a 1 prize deck. A Charizard, if I'm not mistaken. 1 prize Charizard. They got Talon Flame though. Talon Flame V to help them do the turbo draw on the first turn. Fast Flight drawing 6 cards. You have to discard your hand and then you get to draw 6 cards. If you go first, you still get to use that attack. on your first turn. Snorlax, there we go, it is a Charizard deck. Leon's Charizard. Snorlax versus Snorlax. Gormandize versus Block. I love this Snorlax though, not just the art, but also the ability, because it opens a whole new dimension, right? It gives you a whole nother level of control. So control decks now have Snorlax. Instead of Galarmine, we have Snorlax. Because Galarmine is probably going to get rotated. Even if it doesn't get rotated, it's not really a good card to be playing, because stadium cards are so popular nowadays. Temple of Sinnoh, Path to the Peak. A lot of decks play stadiums, and they probably have at least 4 copies in their deck. And it's quite easy to remove Galarmine from play. Sydney is not really a good card in terms of discarding or denying our opponent from playing stadium cards from their hand. We need something that actually, something like a Chaotic Swell to be back in standard, helping us deny our opponent from removing any stadium card already in play. That actually could buy us an extra turn for the extra disruption, or buy us an extra turn to make full use of the same stadium card. Maybe an ability or a trainer card to keep that stadium in play for a bit longer. Or, we actually do have an attack though. We have Shadow Mist to deny our opponent from playing stadium cards from their hand. Whimsicott V-Star actually only works for tool cards and special energies. It doesn't work for stadium for some reason. Your opponent cannot play tool cards or special energy from their hand on the next turn, but they can still play stadium cards. Tricky Wind. Okay, are they gonna do a rare candy? Probably, but they actually discarded 2 Charizards though. They got 2 Charizards in the discard pile, so I don't think it's that easy to rare candy evolve right now. They may do it on the next turn, you never know. We got our first prize already though. They actually benched a Talonflame. Here comes the V card. So we need a lot more damage to kill off the Talonflame. We actually made a mistake later on in the game, you'll see, where we tried to kill the Talonflame with our Remoraid but failed. Because it's actually a flying type, it's not a fire type. And even if it was a fire type, I don't think we have the enough damage, even with the weakness. Because we're doing only 40 damage with Remoraid against a fire type. Okay, we're gonna strike right now. We would need to play our Bruno though, or maybe the boss. I think we should do the boss, but that means we have no cards left. Nothing in play but our Mienfoo. 1 copy on the bench is pretty risky, because I don't think they can kill us though. They got Magma Basin though. They may do like a Scoop Up Net with the Shady for a Scoop Up Net, and then Magma Basin attached to kill with a boss or Mienfoo on the bench. That's quite a lot though. They need the level ball. They need an energy from their hand. They need a boss. It's not a lot, is it? It's not a lot actually. There we go, Shady Dealings. I think they should be prioritizing the Charmanders, because that actually gets to tank damage. If they evolve into the stage 2 fast, if they can shuffle back and evolve, they can actually avoid the knockout against Spinning Whip. Spinning Whip is not doing a KO against Charizard. That means they do have to flip the coin though, but we are not killing them that easily. We need a lot of turns to be able to knock out for, 1 prize draw at a time, which is not good against a 1 prize deck. Doing 2-hit knockout to draw 1 prize at a time is terrible. But we can actually delay the game by forcing them to flip the coin for confusion. So that is actually kind of balancing out our disadvantage that we have. Let's just bench the Mienfoo. Oh, we need the energy, apparently. If we play Spinning Whip right now, we will not be able to attack. We have no attackers on the bench. Bruno. only drawing 4 cards, so we got the quick ball. Quite lucky that we actually got it. If they play a boss, they can still kill the Mienfoo, but at least it's better than nothing, having something on the bench at least. So they're confused and blocked. If they get a heads, they can kill the Snorlax. If they get a tails, we can kill the Talonflame. We need 110 more damage to kill the flying type, so it's a bit more difficult than that. We need Choice Belt and Grand just because they are resistant to fighting type. They got Radiant Charizard with Leon's Charizard and Talonflame, pretty cool. Interesting deck. Magma Basin. Here comes the Ron. Are they gonna put back the energies? Obviously the Charizard, but how much energy? How many energies are you gonna shuffle back? 2 energies, okay. Interesting. Fast Flight. Oh, they actually did the second attack. Burn Brightly, I think. No, that's the ability of Charizard. Bright Burn, I think. Bright Flame or whatever. Does 160 damage, discard an energy from this Pokemon. Cynthia for a big draw. And now we get to evolve, attach, search for a basic with Octillery. Preparing for the next turn. They're probably gonna do a knockout on the later on, so we should be prepared for that. They are flipping a coin though, and they need another energy from their hand. Let's hope they don't get the energy. It's quite unlikely though, because all they need is to play a supporter card to draw the energy out. So here we go. They have 50 HP remaining, and Remoraid is doing 20 base. It's not doing 40 base, and even if it is, we still cannot kill the Talonflame. So I don't know what happened to me at this point in the game, but we made the horrible mistake of attacking with Remoraid. Well, we have no other attackers though. I suppose that's probably the reason why, because we have no other attackers in sight. No Mienfoos on the bench, nothing but Snorlax and Octillery. So we're not gonna play the capture, we're just gonna play the level ball. And then Rapid Strike search for another. Oh, we actually got the quick ball. So what are we gonna search for? We need the energy. I just realized that. We need Rapid Strike energy for Remoraid to do 20 damage, and which is not enough to kill even with the weakness. So that was quite stupid that we chose to attack with Remoraid, because they can discard the energy by knocking us out. But I think we have enough energies to spare. So always check your prize in your deck. If you have way too many of your Rapid Strike energy in the prize, you may not be able to, you may be forced to play Peonia for this deck. So it may actually be a good idea to add that supporter for your deck if you're an unlucky person. And it's always better to prepare for the worst case scenario. So here comes the Charizard. Probably. So no block in the active. They got free retreat. That means they get to remove the condition and attack with the Charizard. There we go. They got it, obviously. We are trapping them on the next turn though. We got Snorlax ready to go. They did not play a boss. They played a research, I think, or Marnie instead. I wasn't really paying attention, sorry guys. They paused the turn, not attacking with the Charizard, and now we have no choice but to kill off the Talonflame with our Spinning Whip. If we don't do that, it would be too late. We're just gonna play a Bird Keeper right now and then search. Okay, we searched first before playing the Bird Keeper. Interesting. Should definitely have done the Bird Keeper first though. Because we could have drawn either of whatever we need and then search for the remaining pieces, right? That would be ideal. Okay, we got a Bird Keeper, we got our energy, we just need to kill the Talonflame right now. I don't know what I'm waiting for. Knockout for the 2 prize, and then all we need is 2 remaining prizes. Is Snorlax gonna give us that? Probably. If we don't, we have Grant to fall back on. Grant to help us do 150 damage, which may not be enough to kill the Charizard, but they have 20 damage though. They do have 2 damage recoil from the Magma Basin, so that means they have essentially 150 HP remaining. If they don't play any heat energy in their deck, I think we're good to kill the Charizard with 1 hit. Later on, it's basically over preparing though. Okay, we got the Scoop on that. Here comes the Charizard. We don't need a Scoop on that apparently, because they're doing a knockout. They got the Radiant Charizard as well. They just need 1 energy on that Radiant at some point in the game. I think by now they just need 1 energy already, because they got 1 fire, 4 colorless for the attack cost, and 1 less colorless for each prize your opponent has taken. And we already took 4 prizes. We're gonna do our Rod, and then level ball for another Mienfoo. Should we play the Grant, or should we just play the Cynthia? Grant is not gonna do anything. We're not doing enough damage. Oh, it's actually, is it enough? Oh, it's not enough, because we need 150, right? And we don't have a Choice Belt, and even if we do, it doesn't work against the Charizard because it's a 1 prize. So Choice Belt and Grant is adding 60 damage. That means you're doing effectively 150 damage with your Spinning Whip, plus the special condition, plus the confusion, which is pretty cool. But you need both the supporter and the tool card. It's not that easy, so it's always better to just do 1 at a time. Attach your Choice Belt onto the bench and then wait for the Grant, and then at some point play both in the game. Don't rely too much on it though. I don't think it's necessary, honestly. Okay, here comes the coin flip. They got a Tails. They got a Tails, people. We got another extra prize this turn. We just need to scoop it up, evolve, attach, kill. And we got 1 last prize. I think we got a boss for the last prize as well. So they conceded, we won against a 1 prize Charizard deck with a Talonflame V. Surprisingly, they actually got that V support for the 2 prize liability. Not really a smart idea, but quite smart in terms of draw support, because it actually helps you attack. You can still attack with the Talonflame. Not just that, it's helping you draw fast, evolve fast, and discard fast. Because you actually need to discard 4 copies of Leon to do up to 300 damage with your Vivid Voltage Charizard. So I think I'm just going to end the voiceover right here and leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. Today we're featuring the new Snorlax from Pokemon Go with the block ability, forcing our opponent to get trapped in the active. If you have your Snorlax in the active spot, they actually cannot retreat. That means we got that extra 1 turn to force them to flip the coin for the confusion, getting the recoil damage of 30 if they flip a Tails. And we also get to do even more damage, more and more with our Spinning Whip, doing Mienshao for 90 damage at a time, plus that Choice Belt extra damage, and also 30 more with our Grant from Astro Radiance, and also Irida helps us search for our Switch card, our Tool card, and also that Octillery for the extra search, helping us evolve, attach the energy, and also bench another Mienfoo. So that's all for this list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, and bye for now, lovely people! Enjoy your life!